Hello guys, I'm here once again to record a civilization guide. That's the first one I'm actually recording, so if you are here in the channel, there are probably a few others already, or maybe not. But the idea of these guides is quite simple. We get a civilization, we analyze its full strengths, weakness, and what makes it so special, and then we go over the best strategies for this civilization, the best units that you want to use, what strategies you want to avoid, what are the worst scenarios for this civilization, what are the best build orders or the must know build orders for the civ to be used, and then we put this all together and also link some games where I use it or the games where these strategies were used here down below on the description. So let's go, and this is the civilization guide from the Spanish. Not losing any time, let's go for their tech tree. Gunpowder and monk civilization Spanish. More like gunpowder and cavalry civilization Spanish. Cavalry civilization because they do have all their knights upgrades, so Cavalier, Paladin, and they have all the blacksmith upgrades. So pretty much in team games you can get Spanish and play with Paladins. Their builders work 30% faster. Because of that bonus, it's a good civilization for you to work with towers and castle drop, because you'll be faster when building your castle. You are also going to be faster when building your towers, so strategies that rely on towers or buildings, defenses, or aggressive towers such as bandit armor towers, scouting towers, anything like that is good with the Spanish because of this. Their blacksmith upgrade doesn't cost gold. It might not look so great in the beginning, but on mid castle age and Imperial age, this helps a lot, especially in maps with less gold available. Let's say you were playing a golden pit and you were not controlling the middle. Well, this helps you to make a solid transition to trash unit in case you need it, or even in 1v1. Even if you're spending all your gold, you can spend it without having to wait and think about the upgrades to the archers or the upgrades to the cavalry, for example. Only the basic ones, only the cavalier, the paladin, but not with the blacksmith. So it's kind of useful, but not in the early stages of the game. Their cannon galleons also benefits from ballistics, so they fire faster, more accurately. This is great. Their cannon galleons are good. If you play that match, you probably know that Spanish are one of the best civilizations to play in water maps, because they are faster builders and also because of the cannon galleon bonus here. So they do have some weapons to use in the water, but they are far from being a water civ, because in most water maps you want early and economical advantage that the Spanish doesn't have. So if you are playing a water map because you went for random or because you are playing mega random setting, you might have to adapt the Spanish in order to get better on the setting, but they're not as great as the Italians, for example. Okay? Going for the unique units, and now things are going to get a lot more interesting. They have the Conquistador. It's a mounted hand cannoneer according to this description, and honestly, I think it's a good description. Basically, that's the unit. Honestly, I feel like they are way better than the hand cannoneers. You can make it on the castle by 60 foot and 70 gold. It's a Spanish unique mounted land hand cannoneer. So they're great. They have 16 attack, 55 basic HP, and they got 2 armor from 2 melee armor and 2 pierce armor, and also 6 range. This is very special because different from all the other units that you might make on a castle during the castle age. The Janissary are kind of like this, the Organ maybe, but different from the Mangudai, different from Plumed Archers, Chokunus. The Conquistador already has 6 range. So in order to have a unit that outrange all feudal age units and also have a very solid range for the castle age play, you do not need to upgrade fletching, you do not need to upgrade bodkin arrow, you already have has access to all the upgrades you need by the start. Conquistadors itself can face off any other unit in the beginning without the upgrades. So let's say that with 16 minutes you are starting to make Conquistadors. You can fight pretty much anything your enemies can do. You can fight their cavalry because the cavalry most likely would not have any upgrade by that point. You can fight against Mangudites and kill them because you have like 16 attack without any upgrade needed. So basically their base stats are awesome. So by the moment you drop a castle, you can already start using this unit to harass the opponent. That's why they have this high cost. They cost almost as much as a knight, but honestly, sometimes they are much more scarier than knights, because with a few spearmen, like let's say an enemy is coming to attack you with 4 spearmen, well, you can go for with 4 knights. You can make something like 8 spearmen and still defend yourself without much trouble. Let's say an enemy is coming to attack you with Conquistadors and you are on feudal age. There's no way to fight back. You can hide yourself in the TC, you can hide yourself in towers, but you cannot fight back. Your best counter to them on feudal age could be archers or skirmishers, but you are still going to be outranged by the Conquistadors without any upgrade made by them. So it's a freaking strong unit for you to play with and a scary unit to play against. So most of your Spanish games should be played around this unit, but do not think that they are the only unit that we're going to use as the Spanish or the main unit. You can still get some good fights without even making a single Conquistador in the whole game. But we are going to get to this point when we talk more about strategy. By the way, they also have the missionary, this mounted monk here. Nothing so special. Hardly you are going to see this monk. And as far as I remember, it can't get relics. So not so great. By the way, you have the Inquisition, unique unit that increases unique technology from Castle Age, which increases the monk conversion rate. This might be useful in a full monk war scenario. Let's say you are playing arena, you started making conquistadors and monks, your enemy is going for full monks, and you still want to try to fight him using monks. Well, you can make Inquisition and make your monks to convert a bit faster. This is good, but it's not OP because the conversion times, as you know, is kind of random. It's not a set time. So thanks to that, Inquisition is not always so used. It's a very situational, unique technology. In most cases, you are not gonna do it. The second one is Supremacy. 400 food to 150 gold for an upgrade for villagers. It actually makes your villagers exceptional in combat abilities. Basically, you are not going to make this to go for an attack with views. There's a few strategies when you go like full bomber towers and views. It's kind of a meme strat, it's not like a great or a real strategy. The true use of this technology is to allow your villagers to have more endurance. So let's say you are playing Imperial Age with Paladins and bomber towers. This will allow your villagers to be less likely to get picked off by enemies when making a bomber tower. Like you'll be able to run back to another tower or back to your paladins. You are going to survive raidings a bit better. So those are the real uses of this technology. On post Imperial Age, in a scenario when you are raiding the enemy and he's raiding you, this might be the difference between killing like 5 views before halberdiers come to kill your roosters and your 5 views surviving the rooster raiding while your halberdiers came to help. So that's where it truly shows its strength, not only in the meme strategies. So quite a unique, really unique technology, but not a must for the Spanish game, okay? And here guys, we're going for their best bonus, which is a team bonus, and this is truly a team bonus. It has no use at all in 1v1s because it's related to trade units. Their trade units generate 25% more gold. They use it to generate 33% more, but that was back on the AOC. So back then, whenever you had a 4v4 and you had a land map or a map where you would be able to make a trade route, you would often think about, man, I think that we need Spanish on the team. Small curiosity, in 2017, we played the last big Age of Empires tournament before the definitive editions become the meta, before the Wololo Kingdom went to Vubli and become the new or the actual meta with all the civs. So only the Conqueror civilizations were there. And in this tournament we used Spanish like in lots of games. Most land maps we would use the Spanish, even if we got in some trouble in the early game because of that. If the game went to Imperial Age, we would always win if the enemy team had no Spanish, just because of this single bonus, because it makes a huge difference for the Imperial Age gameplay. So if you are playing in Spanish, or if you like to play on the post-Imperial Age, Spanish and team games are the thing for you. They are great on castle, they are great on the mid game, they are great on the late game, and they truly shine because of the eco and the technologies that they have access to. Let's talk a bit now about their tech tree, not only about the basic stuff about the Civ. Infantry, ranged units. And here we need to talk about something very important. They are one of the few civilizations that has no access to the crossbowman. So you have here the archer, but you cannot upgrade it to crossbowman or arbalest. Because of that, strategies like going for two ranges or focusing too much on archers on feudal are not gonna work. Let's say you were just trying to make archers against, I don't know, a god player. Not even so special, right? The god player can just avoid fighting with you, just camp and mass, and unless you are able to trade your archers with his, once he's on Castle Age, he will just upgrade the crossbowman and all your investment into archers will be useless. So unless you are 100% sure that you can force up a fight with archers, it's not worth it. Honestly, if enemies knows that you are Spanish and you are making archers, you are about to become a meme, because he knows this will have no use later on. So you are hardly going to use archers as Spanish. Avoid it. Sometimes if you have to go for a ranged unit, if you plan to upgrade this unit later on, if you plan to use it for the Castle Age fights, go for the skirmishers, because the skirmishers you are probably going to be able to upgrade it. As the archers, you are not. About infantry, full champion line with supplies and all the upgrades from the blacksmith. So pretty much you can go for champions if you need to counter eagles or stuff like that, but they're not often seen as Spanish because, of course, you have paladins, you have conquistadors, you have much better mounted units than that. Sorry, going back a bit here to the archer range, I forgot to tell about something important. Cavalry archer. You have cavalry archer with all the upgrades, including tumbling. So for Castle Age, they should be a viable option, but you are not gonna do them. You often are not gonna do them because the conquistadors are way better, require no upgrade, and also do a lot more damage to any kind of unit. So you are often not gonna do them, but in a situation where you have like no stone and you feel like you need a mounted unit on Castle Age, well, you can still try to use the Cav Archer. They're still a viable option, just not what you want to go for. You might be forced to do it. It's possible for you to do if you have the upgrades, but that's not what you want, okay? You also have the Rev Cav Archer, but no party and tactics, so even hard to counter halberdiers, which would be one of the reasons for you to use the Rev Cav Archer. Hand Cannoneer, though, it's good. Their Hand Cannoneers have faster firing. They fire 50% faster than the other Hand Cannoneers. So if you play as Spanish, try using Hand Cannoneers on Imperial Age. That might be a good unit for you, especially when playing against infantry civs. The issue about the Hand Cannoneers, they are a fragile unit. They have like no armor, so they are going to be fragile against melee attacks, fragile against ranged attacks. So how do you avoid it? If you are playing against a melee unit, such as infantry or cavalry, a good advice is to work them together with halberdiers, because this way, or with roosters, okay? Because this way, the enemy is not going to touch your Hand Cannoneers. He's just going to keep fighting your trash units, the halbs or the roosters, and your Hand Cannoneers can just do the damage. So they are a glass cannon. Think about them like that, okay? Halberdiers, very useful. You have squires, you have arson. Infantry line is okay for the Spanish. A good option for you to use in team games. Halberdiers and bombard towers and push. It's great to buy yourself some map, hard to counter, a cheap but it's very strong combination. This table, now we are where we want to be. Spanish have great horses, eh? If you watched Gladiator, Maximus said it. And of course you have the bloodlines. So you can use the bloodlines from starting from feudal age to make to play with scouts. So scouts are surely one of the openings that you might use with the civilization. One of the build orders and strategies that we are going to talk about on this video is exactly the scout into unique unit. Opening with scouts and later a transition into conquistadors. It's quite useful. You can use this in something games. You can use in 1v1. So that's probably something that you might like to see. And if you want to play with full scouts or force them, well, go for it. You can upgrade them with using the bloodlines. Knightline, Cavalier and Paladin, you have it all. And more important than that, you have husbandry. So you can make your cavalry move 10% faster, which is great to fight against cavalry units, ranged units. It makes you reach your target soon. It's easier to snipe off enemy monks, enemy siege, anything. So this is very important. About their siege workshop, well, they have the siege run, which is great. They have onager. So let's say you are facing an opponent going for a massive amount of ranged units, and you are not being able to just keep going for paladins forever or something like this. It doesn't seem like the way to play. Well, onager might be one of the answers here, so you can use them. You have no access to Rab Scorpion, which can hurt when fighting against massive infantry civs, but don't worry, you have the Conquistadors, you have great hand cannoneers, so the absence of Scorpion is not so bad for the civ. One of the strategies that you are almost immune to is the Goth Castle Age Hurskal raid, because the Conquistadors are one of the great counters for infantry, especially from the Hurskals. By the way, you have bombard cannon, which are great. They fire faster, so Spanish bombard cannon are scary. If you are in a trap war situation, always remember to upgrade chemistry and do like at least 2 cannons, because they are great to snipe off traps. They are great to kill massed enemy skirmishers or massed archers. Not so great against massed archers if your enemy know how to use split formations, or if you're fighting longbows, for example. But against regular arbalests, you can use them as a defensive tool, also as an aggressive tool. Since they fire faster, it's great to just rush using, for example, hand cannoneers, halbs, and bombard cannons. It's a great combination. They can take down TCs easily, so that's something you should do. By the way, they require chemistry, as you can see here. Blacksmith, we talked about all the upgrades available, which pretty much makes your trash unit great. So if you are in a 1v1 situation, you have full halberdiers, full roosters, full elite skirmishers. So if you like those 1.5 hour games, 2-hour Arabia games, Spanish are a great civ on the setting. About the dock, they have all the upgrades. All the upgrades. You have a civilization with all the upgrades, shipwright, carrying, dry dock, all kinds of ships. So Rev Demolition Ship, Fast Fire Galleon, Elite Cannon Galleon, and those are one of the best in the game because of that they fire faster and they also benefit a bit from ballistics. The problem is that since the Spanish have no bonus on the early game, they are hardly seen on the water unless you are, for example, in a deathmatch game where they're probably the best civilization to fight for the water. Taking a look now on the university. You only lack a few upgrades. On Castle Age, well, you don't have the written shot, which is hardly seen, but it's a bonus that allow your towers to cause more damage to ships. You might think that this is bad, but it's not. The Spanish bombard towers fire faster, remember? So if you ever need to make a few towers to defend some area of the map from enemy ships, let's say you want to defend your trade on Baltic or something like this, you can use bomber towers and they're still gonna do the job for you, so you are not lacking a head-hitted shot for anything. You have murder rolls, okay, but you do not have treadmill crane. Does it matter? Not at all, because treadmill crane allow your villagers to be 20% faster, but you are already building everything 30% faster because of your civilization. So this doesn't matter. This was removed because it would be almost like having a enable a cheat. You know, your villagers would be like ages villagers. You not want this. You have masonry and architecture, and this is important. With those two upgrades, for example, you can make your buildings a lot stronger, a lot more bulky, and receive armor. They're very cheap because you probably want to do those on the Imperial age. So whenever you are trying to make towers or castles, remember to make this. It's a great defensive tool. It only costs food and wood, and those two upgrades can get your buildings a lot bulkier. Your castle can get more than 7k HP. Try to make the comparison between a full upgraded Spanish castle and an Aztec one. You need almost twice as trebuchet shots to kill the Spanish full upgraded castle than an Aztec, and that's because you have these upgrades. So make them, especially if you are in a trap war situation, they are a must. Going also here, you lack siege engineers, and honestly, if you had, your cannons would be so amazing. So it's okay to have this removed. And by the way, talking about the regular towers, you have access to watchtower, guard tower, and keep. So let's say you made a tower rush. Does it worth to upgrade your towers? Well, if they are securing key resources like the enemy gold or stone, you can just keep upgrading them. It costs only food and wood to upgrade these towers. A guard tower, for example, can just survive mangonels. So if if you went for a tower push and your enemy is trying to take your towers down using mangonels, you can just upgrade them for guard towers, repair them with the views, or put some views inside for them to shot more arrows, and you can pretty much nullify any attempt of him to taking down your guard towers or your towers using mangonels. So it's a great upgrade. Keep a lot expensive. Arrow list though, increase the attack, great one. So you can still play with the towers, but you are hardly going to see a Spanish going for keep towers. The reason? Well, quite simple. They have access to the bomber tower. Spanish have one of the best bomber towers in the game. Some reasons for these bomber towers to be scary. First, they have all the building upgrades. Second, they fire faster thanks to this bonus here. They are also a gunpowder unit or building. Third, your villagers can build them faster in 30%, which is scary. Fourth, thanks to your trade units generating more gold, once you are in a 4v4, it works for you to just make a few extra trade cards just to give you enough gold to mass bomber towers. I have won a lot of games with Spanish by playing full Paladin and bomber tower. Oh, but the enemy has Frank Paladins. Pff, whatever, I will just advance in using bomber towers. Oh my god, the enemy is trying to stop you with elephants. Pff, doesn't matter, I will just push in to fight beneath the bomber towers, and then my paladins are going to wreck him. So paladins supported by a constant bomber tower advance are fucking amazing, terrible to counter, and that's why they are scary as well. Far faster, easy to build faster, and you also have a civilization that gives you all the upgrades for those towers together with villagers that are going to build them faster. So insane. That's insane. If you are in a 4v4, the composition that you want to play is probably paladins and bomber towers. If you have the full trade line going on, let's say we're playing a team game in Lombardia, you want to just keep spamming paladins, bomber towers, paladins and bomber towers, and get the map control, push your enemy, dominate the areas of the map just by using this, okay? So that's basically it. We just went over the full tech tree here, mostly of the military tech tree and the university. Talking about monks, well, we talked that in Spanish have great monks, right? Take a look on their monastery text tree. They have all the upgrades. So basically, if you play with the Spanish, you will have access to any upgrade you need. I have even used it, guys, both a combination of both Heresy and Fate in a tournament to win an arena game against a Revi monk civ, the Byzantines, in the past. So this is quite useful. We are going to talk about this, but more specifically, what those upgrades does. Let's go over it. It might be important for you to know. The first upgrade you probably want to do when you have a monastery, an upgrade that most civilizations have. Sanctity. Why do you want to do this? It allows your monks to have 15% more hit points. So a regular monk has 30 HP. A monk with this upgrade, which is quite cheap, only 120 gold, has 45 HP. So this makes them less fragile, still fragile, but less fragile. They can even survive a mangonel shot, for example. So this is quite good. You want this. Another upgrade that you might want if you are playing, depending on which scenario you're playing. Fervor. This will allow your monks to move 15% faster. So let's say you are fighting for the relics, or you have an extra gold and you want your monks to reach it faster, to get back faster. This can be used. So that's one of the situations where you want your monks to be faster. Also in a monk war, let's say that your enemy is trying to outrun your monks, or he's trying to convert your monk, and you are just out of fate. You need to run before you get converted. If you have this upgrade, you can run from the enemy monk instead of being converted by it. So those are the situations where you want to use Fervor. Herbal Medicine. You are not going to use this. It's a fucking useless stack. Atonement. Let's say that you are fighting against a player that is going full monks and you are also going for full monks. If you need to convert his monks, that's the upgrade for you. 325 gold for Atonement. Redemption. That one is a great one, because it allows you to convert Siege. So let's say you are getting pressured by the enemy with mangonels, or on Imperial Age with cannons. You can convert enemy onagers, siege onagers, mangonels, cannons. It's great. It's a great upgrade for you to have. Allows your monks to convert both siege and buildings, except a few buildings. You can even convert towers. Obviously, you cannot convert a castle, a town center, a wall, but you can for sure convert a tower. You can convert all the military units, such as stable, archer range, siege. So this is great when you are doing a monk rush. Let's say you have like 5 monks idle there, and you cannot attack your enemy because there's a castle. You can just use those monks to convert his houses, his market, his stable. You can just get this guy houses. You can just convert some of his military buildings and delay him by using this. So one of the most useful upgrades. As for the Imperial Age, you have block printing. This is a must upgrade if you are going for monks, because it gives your monks 3 extra conversion range. So instead of the regular 9, your monks are going to have 9 plus 3 equals to 12 range of conversion. So basically you can convert a cannon within the same range. You can convert even archer units because you have extra range. Not what you want to do, because enemy will probably have a mass of archers, but still good. And of course you can convert melee units from far away. So it's great. Theocracy, also a good upgrade, especially if you have a lot of monks. It allows, it just works like this. Let's suppose that you have 5 monks and you select those 5 monks to convert a knight. If you do not have this upgrade, once you finish your conversion, all your monks lost their fate. They still have to recharge before they are able to convert again. If you have this upgrade, only 1 monk will lose it. Even if you set like 5 monks to convert the enemy, only 1 will lose its fate, and all the others will be able to be able to convert enemy units. And illumination, that allows monks to regain their fate or their stamina 50% faster after a successful conversion. Illumination, Theocracy, block printing, they are all cheap, especially consider they are Imperial Age upgrades. But if you are playing in a fast Imperial scenario or with a lot of monks, or you are going to keep like at least 8 monks constantly in your army, this is something you want to do. Also, if you are a good monk player, Spanish might also be one of the best civs for you, thanks to all of that. But if you are also having trouble to fight against monks, and let's say that you were fighting with Russars or Paladins, you can use Heresy. This will make all of your converted units to die. So let's say you were attacking an enemy with 5 light cavalry. You were attacking like 5 monks with 5 light cavalry. Let's say that your enemy is really good when in conversions. He's really a professional monk player, and he just converted 3 of your light cavs. Well, those 3 will kill the other 2. Even if you manage to snipe off his monks with the 2 left, you are still lost the battle, because he will have 3 light cavs in the end. But if you made Heresy, those 3 light cavs will just die instead of being converted, and you will just have like 2 light cavs against the other 5 monks. So this is a scenario where you want Heresy, especially when you are fighting against a massive monk rusher. So this is a good upgrade. The other good upgrade is Fate. When do you want to make Fate? It's a very situational, because it's an expensive upgrade. 750 food and 1000 gold. A situation when you want to use Fate. Let's say you are fighting with Paladins against an opponent that has a few monks. You want to get your Paladins more resistant to the conversions. You want to give them a chance to reach the monks, to actually kill them. Fate is the upgrade, because they will be something like Tilton Paladins that are hard to convert. I used it in a tournament, guys, a combination of Heresy, Fate, and then I made Paladins. My opponent was a Byzantine, heavily using monks, and I was able to just siege him in the end, and his defense with the monks totally failed, because not only he took a lot of time to convert my Paladins, but the few Paladins that he was successfully able to convert instantly died because of Heresy. So Fate and Heresy, especially when you are using your units and you do not want to get converted. Of course, because of the cost, it's not something that you want to do in the early game, and it's very situational. About the eco, they have, of course, all the town center upgrades, including town patrol to have more line of sight. They have the first gold mining upgrade, all the wood upgrades, all the mill upgrades, but not the last one, sorry, so not all. Let's restart it. All the wood upgrade, which is great. Reviplow, but no crop rotation. It's not a problem. You are not gonna need a lot of farms, unless it's a 1v1. So by a lot I mean something like 100, like a Persian. But in a team game, if you have the trade going on, 40 to 50 farms can just keep a constant Paladin production for a long time. So that's one of the few drawbacks, but heavily compensated by the trade. They have the stone shaft mining, so this is great. It allows you to pick stone a lot faster. If you're relying on castle age units, and if you are relying also in bombard towers, that's something that you want to have. They lack the gold shaft mining, indeed, but they can compensate later with the trade. Their market have guilds, which is great because it allows you to be effective while trading resources. This is especially good for 1v1, so you can make your gold last longer by using guilds, taking up relics, using guilds to sell resources and things like this. I think that we went through all their tech tree. We talked about most of the things you want to do as Spanish. So we finished the tech tree part. Let's go for the strategies. Strategies with the Spanish. Quite simple. What are the best openings for you as the Spanish? Man-at-Arm is a good opening because it will allow you to have some pressure on the beginning, and you can even use this as a follow-up with Man-at-Arm and Archers, for example, or men-at-arms and skirmishers to fight against ranged units. Sorry, not men-at-arms and archers, men-at-arms and towers. Men-at-arms and towers or men-at-arms and skirmishers, so that's why it's a good opening. Scouts allow you to raid. Scouts can make your opponent very busy dealing with constant raidings, and you also know that you might be able to upgrade them later on, and some of those upgrades will also be used by the Conquistadors. So men-at-arms opening is good. Drush opening is also always an option for any civ. But straight range openings like skirmisher or archers are not often a great idea. Maybe in a situation where you know that you are going to face in a 1v1 scenario a player going for a double range. In this very situational approach, you might just go for a skirmisher opening. But honestly, you are hardly going to see one of these situations, and the skirmisher are not going to do some damage to villagers as the scout or the men-at-arms, so it's a very passive opening. So very costly for a passive opening. Open with men-at-arms or scouts if you are in a 1v1 scenario. That's what you want to do. Towers or tower push, straight up tower push is an option. It is. It is a risky strategy, but if you like playing with towers, you can also use it. If your enemy knows how to defend it, you might just get yourself screwed, so that's why I would recommend you to use towers after a men-at-arms or a scout opening, especially if you have an opponent that is good at defense, that can also use his early army to help on the defense, and he might also have the lucky of having more resources in the back. So for that reason, you might want to do this. Let's talk now about Castle Age. Units that you want to do as the Spanish. Your must unit, the Conquistador. You are always wanting to play with the Conquistadors. Oh, Stark, but I do not know if I can play with the Conquistadors. I'm playing in Arabia as a pocket. Maybe in this situation, it might be more useful for you to play with knights. You will have all the upgrades for the knights, and they are much easier to mass than the Conquistadors because they only require a few stables and not a castle investment. So you can go for making knights from 2 stables to spamming knights from 4 stables within a few minutes, but you won't be able to keep spamming Conquistadors like that. So knights is a good unit to play on Castle Age. You have the full knight line, remember. Elite skirmishers are also good. So let's say you are playing against some guy going for a lot of archers. You are going to play against Ethiopian in a 1v1, or against a Breton, or even against a Cav Archer civilization, or for a guy going for a lot of Cav Archers such as a Hun player. Elite skirmishers might be a good option. So elite skirmishers also a unit you want to do. Conks, elite skirmishers, knights, 3 units here for you. Siege as well, monk, okay. Units that you are hardly going to want to do. Pikemen. I like halberdiers. I'm not a big fan of pikemen. What are you going to face with your pikemen? Oh, Stark, I want to face knights. Well, you have your own knights. You have monks. You have conks. By the moment you make pikemen, you have no mobility. Are they still an option? They are. You can try to play, for example, with siege and pikemen in some cases. Might be a good push. Or if you are, for example, using monks and siege to push your enemy, and he tries to counter you by going light cav, pikemen can also be used. So pikemen probably. Units that you were hardly going to use. Long swordsmen. In a scenario where you want to hold a Meso civilization like the Aztecs from overthrowing you with eagles, you might want to use longsword. But it's a very situational unit. You are hardly going to say, oh, I'm going to try to go for a long swordsman, not to counter but to attack my enemy. Not the right idea, you know. You might use the knight or the conquistador that have more mobility. You can use siege that can take buildings faster. So things like this will always be a better option. But the best strategy overall, if you can, is to drop a castle, make it a fast castle with a castle drop into conquistadors. So some of the buildings that I find more essential for the Spanish. Know how to do a basic man-at-arm opening. know how to do a basic scout opening, know how to do a fast castle into Conquistador, correctly balance it, and know how to boom. So if you know the Man-at-Arm, the Scout, and the booming from the basic build orders, you can pretty much play great as a Spanish player. But if you want to play even better, I think that you should go for the Fast Castle into Conquistador build order, which is the one that we are going to record right now. So let's go for it. Fast Castle into Conquistador. I will try to record it in a standard map, Arena. Why I'm recording this in Arena? This is one of the strategies that might work better in closed maps, like Black Forest, like Arena. You are safe, you have walls, so you do not have to worry about rushes so much, and you can just focus on your eco, lure deers, and do everything you want. I'm going, guys, to do this build order already luring a few deers. Oh, Stark, can I do the same build order by not luring or something? You can do a very similar build by taking the deers with a meal or not taking them at all, using farms and berries. If you need to do this, my suggestion is the only thing you are going to change from the build order that you are going to see is to actually go for a few more views in the wood, since you are going to invest into a meal or into farms, okay? Oh my god, I'm not being able to select the correct map here. Shit. Thanks, dear. Let's try again. Okay, guys, there we go. Recording now the Spanish Fast Castle into Conquistador. We started the game making houses, going for the ship, and we are going to start this build order as we start all the basics by putting 6 villagers here to eat the ship. Remember, your houses are going to be completed faster than the other cities since you're Spanish, which allows your views to go earlier to the TC to get the ship, which is great, okay? Try to use it. I have 5 views. I'm already going to task, guys, the views to the next ship. You want to minimize any walking time from your villagers. This is one of the secrets of making a good fast castle, of having a solid build order, not having to wait for food to click up to castle, minimize the idle time. So all those guys are going to the next ship. Let's put now 4 views on the wood, and of course we are going to already test the views to get the next ship. Just like this, get the views, task them to the next ship, and put the next ship as close as you can from the one they are taking. Even like this. We are basically just minimizing the walking distance. Have we found our resources? Let me see. 1 boar is there. There are some ibex for us to lure. Only the other boar is missing. We're about to find him. Uh-oh, we are eating the ship. Let's already task to the 4th one. See? No walking. Those views are not leaving those few tiles here. Oh my god, where they at? Where's the boar? 4 views now on the wood. We are starting to read the 4th ship. By this moment you can already go to get your boar. Or send the next view there, but if you want to have a solid build, send your villager to get the boar by the time you are starting to read the 4th ship. Do not wait for it to run over. This way you are going to still have like 4 ships here to take. Going to get the boar. Making a house, later a mill. Another view here. Oh, the boar's there, guys. We know where he is, huh? Good. Right now we have 8 hunters. So I'm going to place all the next views to the food on the berries. I want to have at least 4 villagers on the berries. If you are not planning on getting deers, you might send more already to the berries. But if you are, don't worry. I'm gonna get now the 2nd boar, which is here.
Sí. Presto. Servidor.
I made a house before the meal, guys. When is the correct time of making a house? Let's say that I'm not gonna get idle with those views. I can already task, for example, this view to make 2 houses.
Sí.
It's not gonna be a problem.
Presto. Cazar. Voy. Degradar. Servidor. Cazar. Presto.
Killing the boar. You see that those views have never left these few tiles here, guys. We are minimizing the walking distance.
Presto. Agora.
Oops, going back here. We only want 4 here on the berries, right? So 4 views on the berries, all the others are hunters. We had 8, now we're about to have 10. And I'm luring a few ibex. This map was very generous with us to lure, right? I'm going to make another lumber camp now, guys. Now that I have 14 views on the food, 10 hunters and 4 on the berries, I'm sending now more views to get wood. I already have 4 out here, so I'm just going to send more views to another wood. How many views do you want to have in the wood? 7 is a good number, especially since we're also going to invest into farms later, probably. Let's already retask some of those hunters to eat the sheep while luring. Look at this. The views are retasked to eat the sheep. The sheep is also placed here. All of that provides us a lot of efficiency, and that's the idea. We have 7 views on the wood. We are going now to make to get stone. So 7 views on the wood. We are going for the stone, and we are going to make a mining camp and set 3 views on the stone. The other views are just collecting food. Doesn't matter if from deers, if from berries. If you can follow, just collect the deers like this. Divide your views between sheep and deers. It's okay. We are always settling the next sheep here in order to avoid walking time. We have now, guys, 3 views on the stone. Let's put 2 on the gold and we will be able to click up.
Sí. Presto. Buscar. Sí. Buscar.
Presta. ¿Sí?
Mande. Cazar. Servidor. Construir.
Let me make a few farms before we click up.
Presta.
I'm gonna make at least 3 farmers here.
Servidora. Buscar. ¿Sí? Buscar.
By the way,
¿Sí?
I'm tired of talking about this, but Stark, I do not found my last 2 sheep. The enemy stole my boar. What should I do in this case? Put more views in the wood, a maximum of 10. So put like 8 or 9 views on the wood, delay a bit your uptime, and make farms. This is one of the best ways of reacting to that, okay? Anyway, we have 3 views on the stone. Sorry, let's just restart it. We have 14 views on the food, and this is what you need to go to the next stage. 14 views on the stone, on the food. We have 7 views collecting wood. The idea of those villagers is to allow us to make a market and a blacksmith once we are in feudal age. And we have 3 views on the stone. Why? Because we need to make the castle. And 2 on the gold. Because we need 200 gold to go to the next stage. We are finishing this ship. I'm already going to retask some of those views to the berries. You want to minimize the idle time of your food collectors, at least by the time that we're going feudal, like I am right now. I'm already going to select 2 views, guys. And the idea of those 2 villagers will be to make the market and the blacksmith. Since you are Spanish, you can make those buildings using only 1 villager each, because they're still going to be able to finish it. Sending out 2 extra views to the stone. The villagers that finish collecting food can go for the stagglers or to the berries. But since I have already like 10 views on the berries, I'm 10 views on the food, 7 on the berries and others here on the farms, I'm fine. We're about to click up, guys, with 5 views on the stone. We did it. Now let's pause and let's talk about what we do after we are up to castle. In this case, in this situation, with population 29. We want to drop a castle, and we will be able to do so because we will have those 5 views now collecting stone. We also want to set our eco to make Conquistadors. Conquistadors are expensive. They cost 60 food and 70 gold. So I'm going to make some small rule for you guys to remember. Just to keep your RTC working, you need 6 farms. But to make a Conquistador, to constantly keep making Conquistadors, you are also going to need 6 more farms. So we will need a total of 12 farms and 7 views on the gold by the moment that we want to keep constantly making views in 1TC and Conquistadors in the castle. So what are we going to work towards right now? We are going to upgrade the wood, upgrade the horse collar, and try to make those 12 farms. Right now we only have 3. If you already made farms during the Dark Age, made more farms here, good for you, you are closer to this goal. If you just use the deers and berries and had no farms, unless you have a food source that's going to last longer, like deers from Yucatan, double berries, or something like this, or fish, you will need to make those 12 farms. So let's go for it. Upgrading all the wood, the double bit axe. I'm going to set this view to make a house at least.
Construir.
As soon as we can, guys, I'm going to upgrade the horse collar. Upgrading it, and I will start to make farms with the views here from the berries.
Sí, voy. Construir.
We have 5,
Servidor.
we have 6. We need to have, guys, those 12 farms by the moment we finish building our castle, because this way we will have a sustainable way of making both views and Conquistadors without having to idle neither the TC or the castle.
Servidora. Agora. Construir.
8 farms, only 4 to go, right?
Presta.
Mande. Construir.
Mande.
Good, we're doing it.
Construir.
Prestalar.
We have this upgrade, we have this upgrade. I'm going to put the farms here on the automatic farm too. We have 12 views, guys, collecting food right now. The thing is, we have 2 views here that are actually collecting the berries. A good idea is to make a transition later for those views for the farms. I'm already going to make a transition for 1 view and set the transition for this other view here to make a farm later on. We are about to reach Castle Age. What we want to do now is to drop a castle as fast as you can. I'm going to take 3 views from the stone, a few here from the wood, could be from the food as well, and I'm going to drop the castle. We are now making the castle,
Presto. Construir.
making also the bow saw upgrade. We have 12 views on the food. We are making the bow saw. We know that we won't have problem to make Conquistadors. I'm also going to upgrade the gold mining upgrade. So let's already set our eco for the post-castle situation. How many views we need on the gold? 7. So I'm going to set those views here
Excavar.
on the right side to the gold.
Excavar.
All the others back here to the food, and let's make Conquistadors. Right now, that's our eco, guys. We do have 12 farmers or 12 views on the food, because this one is on the berry. Making Conquistadors, 7 on the gold to support it, only 2 on the stone.
Excavar.
So let's have a small talk about that, right? And we're making the Conquistadors, which are already ready to fight. Good, good. Let's make a pause. Alright, so we are on Castle Age. We are making Conquistadors. We have a castle to defend our base. We have a TC. But I only left 2 views on the stone. If you want to play with a very aggressive strategy of something like full Conquistador, you want to drop already a second castle by the mark of 21 minutes or 22 minutes, keep playing with 2 castles, focusing in a 1TC style and full Conquistador, you might just put more views on the stone. But if you want to keep making Conquistadors and boom, you can just go and keep only those 2 here, because then we are later going to drop more TCs. Even if you have the resources, I do not advise you in dropping the TCs so early, especially if you did more farms in the Dark Age. If you did the minimum of 3 farms in the Dark Age, like I did, right now I have 3 farms about to run over, so I need to set up a few farms here or 180 wood in order to remake those farms. So right now I do not have this amount, I only have 80 wood because I still need to remake those farms in 1 minute from now. But if you didn't do that, if you did a lot of farms, my suggestion is wait a bit before you drop your second TC. Or if you do so, you are probably not going to be able to support the production of villagers in 2 TCs. So be patient, we are soon going to catch our opponents in the booming. The idea of the Conquistadors is to dominate the game with army, not with the eco, but we are going to make a transition here to boom and not fall too behind our enemies, okay? A more conservative build order. Let's go for it. Making Conquistadors non-stop.
Agora. Degrado.
You want to be using those conks, guys, even if only 2, to raid, to kill enemy army. They are very powerful weapons. So we are going to keep making them. We are going to keep making views. Remember about the farms? Let's already set like 3 farms here. This right now is the correct amount of wood. We are not yet able to make a TC, only when you have 275. Right now, I think that I can drop the TC. I have a lot of food. Making a TC here with 6 views. But if you want this TC to be self-sustainable, what we want to do is to drop 6 more farmers, okay? If you want to boom without having to stop making Conquistadors, you want to make 6 more farmers, so let's already set it. 1 here,
Presto.
another one,
Presta.
3 farms,
Servidora.
4 farms. We still need to make 2 farms for those TCs to be able to self-sustain.
Servidor. Construir.
Sí.
Ouch.
Construir. Mande. Construir. Servidora. Construir.
Mande.
One more.
Sí. Plasme. Construir.
Okay, right now we have 18 farms. This means that we can keep making views and making conks.
Sí.
So
Construir. Servidor.
6 farms for each town center, 6 farm for the conks to be made. Remember that we also have 7 views on the gold with the upgrade. Ooh. All working. I'm not cheating. We are soon gonna have more wood to make another TC, a 3rd one. I'm gonna make it here.
Agora. Construir.
Mande. Construir.
Okay guys, you know, what are we going to do to keep all these TCs productive? By the way, I start making houses with 1 view. I have an official builder for our kingdom. What we want to do once we have this TC? We want this TC to be self-sustainable. And how are we going to do it? By having 6 farms. So let's already start making farms,
Construir.
if we can.
Construir.
I'm making the farms here around the mill, around the other TCs. It doesn't matter where you make them. What does matter is that you need to have enough farms to support your growth.
Sí. Agora. Construir.
How many farms we have? 23. We need 1 more farm and we'll be good to go. There we go. Beautiful.
Presta.
With this amount of farms that we have right now, guys, we are just self-sustainable
Servidor. Construir.
for 3 TCs and 1 castle. Okay? So that's a self-sustainable eco. 24 farms, 18 farms here, 6 for each town center, 6 farms here for the Conquistador food, and 7 views on the gold for the Conquistadors. Right now we're booming 3 TCs, making Conquistadors non-stop. We only have 13 units, might not look a lot, but those are Conquistadors. They are strong. So guys, there's a lot of decisions that you might make from this point. You might want to upgrade your Conquistadors. You can upgrade them by using these upgrades here. Let me show you. Where is it? Blacksmith. Okay, you can upgrade them to have more resistance by using the upgrades that you will do for cavalry archers. So, padded archer armor, leather archer armor, they are all going to cost only food. You can also upgrade the hit points of your conquistadors by making bloodlines. It adds 20 hit points to it. I rightly recommend you to use this upgrade unless you're fighting like massive archers. Even if you're fighting massive archers, that's one of your priorities when going for the conquistadors. If you're fighting, for example, against camels, or you're just running against knights, must upgrade and might even be your priority is the husbandry, because it will give you more speed to run from camels and from knights while hitting them. So those are the upgrades that you can do on the castle age for your conquistadors. Alright guys, we just found an opportunity here to keep making conks. How are we going to play by keep making conquistadors? How are we going to do it? We are going to send more views to the stone, so we have only 2 views. I'm going to send at least 5 more, so that we have 7. I'm going to upgrade a stone mining upgrade, and I'm going to invest into at least 6 more farms. We had 24, we are going now to get something around 30. Why are we're playing like this? What's our goal by adding those extra farms to have 30, to go for the stone, is to add a castle when we can, upgrading wheelbarrow. Let's keep making houses and conks. Now that we have this extra amount of views, we can think about making a barracks and later upgrading the padded archer armor. Remember that we did a lot of farms during the transition from feudal to castle, right? We are going to have to remake all those farms at some point. So my advice for you, upgrade by this time around 24-25 minutes the Revi Blow. This way you'll be able to remake all your farms with their fullest food potential, and this will get your eco a lot better for the later stages of the game. That's it, we're making this. I'm already, guys, going to start making more views now to the gold. We can even go to another gold mining, so let me put a new one here. There's a gold mine behind this castle. Hard to see, right? We're making the stable now. We're upgrading the padded archer armor, making more conks. If you need, guys, to fight against an enemy going for archers, or if you need to prioritize army, don't you worry, delay a bit your eco and make this. I'm also going to make 6 more farms now. Let's go up to 36. Making conks, making farms, getting more gold. Woo! Houses, making houses. Upgrading now the bloodlines for our conks to be stronger. We can already drop the second castle, so if you want, you can already bring views forward to drop a castle forward or make a safe castle at your base. It depends on the situation. Sometimes you might want to control a hill on the game, some other times you are just trying to play safe on your base, which is like this one. I'm upgrading the conks to be able to still fight on castle age. Upgrade the bloodlines, upgrade the +2, upgrading now the husbandry. Sending, of course, more views here to the gold. We are about to have 14 views, and thanks to having 14 views, we will now be able to mass or to collect more golds to go to Imperial Age. Let's go up now to 45 farms. Huh? It's gonna worth it. Make more mules if you need to. I'm going to send those builders here to the gold. I want to have something like 25 to 30 views on the gold. It's a lot, huh? But it's our final composition. The farmers, of course. Mules if needed. This is our house builder. He just went into this journey here. We are constantly making conks, guys. and also booming rapidly. How many farms we have in total? Let's see. 45 farmers. A lot, huh? Let's also upgrade the handcart. Move our views from the stone. Huh? If you want to accelerate your next castles, go for the stone shaft mining, or else we can just keep making conquistadors here. It's not a huge problem for you to stay castle longer, especially in team games, because the conquistadors are a very strong unit and they can deal damage even to Imperial Age units. So you are able to fight against cavaliers or defend from it using conks. You don't have to bother with going very fast. You have to bother into going with the correct eco. If you want to click up, oh my god, my enemy is attacking me with arbalest, I need to click up now to be able to defend. Just idle your castles a bit. With the amount of farms we did, with almost 30 views here on the gold, all you need to do is to idle a bit your farmers, your castles, and you are going to up. Okay? But if you want to keep making conks, no problem, you are just going to delay your uptime in a few minutes. We are going up now. What is the best support unit for the Conquistador? The answer is it depends, but my favorite are the Rams. Not only it will give you potential to kill the enemy, but also absorb a lot of arrows. So I'm going for the Rams. I'm going to make even more farmers. Let's go up to 50 farmers now. So 5 more. See? 50 farms. We can already drop our castle. I'm not in a hurry here, guys, to drop the castles because I have a lot of conks. But let's say a scenario where I'm trading conquistadors with a lot of other units. I should probably be thinking about rushing a bit the expansion, right? The transition to more castles. But right here, I'm fine. Making runs. The idea here to play is to use Conquistadors and Siege Run. That's one of the best combinations for the Conquistadors. The Conquistadors pretty much have enough damage to kill mostly anything. So unless you are fighting against, let's say, elephants, maybe it would be better to first open with halves. But if you're just fighting against some guy going for arbalest and runs, for example, you can just go for this opening. Or with cavartiers, for example. The first time we didn't have wood to remake a farm, huh? That's because we are heavily investing into battering runs. Once we are in Imperial Age, what are we going to upgrade? The Conquistador, so we need to upgrade Elite Conquistador, Bring Archer Armor, Conscription to make them faster, and upgrade the Siege. And keep making them, of course. We're making the Conquistadors, upgrading the Two-Man Saw. I should have upgraded the stone early on, forgot. Not a huge problem if we're not losing the castles. If you are short on resources and you cannot afford all the upgrades, my priority for you would be: first, Ring Archer Armor. It will give you the tool that you need to fight against Archer Shields. 2. Conscription. It will allow you to produce things faster. 3. The Run upgrades. And for last, the Elite Conquistador, because it doesn't change a lot their stats. Siege Run might be more important than Elite Conquistadors in a mirror matchup, for example. Right now, guys, we have a huge pack of Conquistadors, a lot of runs, a lot of farmers here back home. You can even start selling your food or make a transition into another unit. Let's say that you want to add Halbs or Russars or anything. You already have the eco for that. We are finishing to upgrade the siege here. 66%. Making a lot of it. Conks, and that's it. This is basically what you need to finish your opponent, okay? With this combination, in a 1v1 scenario, there are hardly counters for you, because whatever counters the conks won't counter the runs in most cases, okay? And if it counters, well, use your third unit. Let's say you are fighting against a big mass of Imperial Age camels that can kill both Rams and Conquistadors. Maybe that's a situation for you to go for the Halberdiers. Or if you are fighting against a Briton player that's trying to out-micro you by using a lot of longbows, you might add elite skirmishers to approach and kill them. You might try to use, for example, the Russars as a melee armor. So this is the other unit you want to do, and that's how you want to finish the game, playing with Conquistadors. 3 TCs, Conks don't stop, all the upgrades, and that's the game. We did the transition to Conks. What is our situation right here? Current situation is, we have one castle making Conquistadors. We are using those Conquistadors to raid a lot and support our allies when fighting against knights and other units. We have 3 TCs working, and we just decided we are going to make a transition here to boom and to go for Paladins. Exactly. We are going for Paladins. We are not going to hurry into upgrading the Conks. We are just a support or a raiding unit. We want to boom, and we are looking into the late game. How are you going to make this transition to Paladins? You can go for 3 TCs and keep making Conks, or you can go for 4 TCs. And with 4 TCs, you will be maybe a bit slower to imp, but we'll have a more solid eco to go for the Paladins. I'm going to use, guys, this second option here, and I'm going for 4 TCs, boom, to Paladin. Let's go. Remember that we have 24 farmers, 6 farmers for each town center, 6 to support the castle, 7 views here on the gold, 2 views on the stone, so we already have enough stone for the next TC, and that's what we're going to do. We are going to keep making views, like we are, and as soon as we have the resources, we are going to make a 4th town center.
Monday?
It seems we have it, so let's go. I'm going to make this town center here, guys. It's a word location, right? It's because I want to get this gold. Making it, keep making views. Of course, if we're making another town center, what do we want? Farms to support it, so 6 more farms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we are about to make the 61. And 6. We can already send the other views here to the woods, no problem. We have 30 farms, which means that we can support those TCs working. Now, guys, it's time to hurry up to go to 40 farmers. But before doing that, we are going to make a few upgrades. We are going to upgrade Wheelbarrow, because this will allow our views to carry more resources, work faster. You can even make it sooner if you want, but I'm focusing more in having the view numbers. And we're also going to make the Reviplow. The idea of the Reviplow here is that it will allow us to have farms with more food. Not only the next 10 farms that we are going to build right now. So let's go for 10 extra farms until we have 40 farmers. But also all the farms that we are going to remake. Because most of the farms that we did on the Feudal Age transition to Castle are starting to run off. Can you see this? They all have slow food, 30 food. Oops. 4, 3, 6. So we are making it. Oh my god, we just lost our builder somewhere. Let's remake the builder. Now, guys, let's go up to 50 farmers, okay? Another mill and more farms will be needed. Right now we have 80 views, so it's a good idea to make the handcart. And of course we're going to make more farmers.
Construir, sí. Talar, servidor. Construir, presto. Construir, sí. Mande, degrado. Construir. Servidor. Mande. Construir.
How much farms we have? 47, so 3 more. Oh guys, by the way, I stopped making conks, but it doesn't mean that you have to stop. I'm even going to queue up a lot of conks here to show that you do not need to stop making the Conquistadors, my bad. We are going to send now more views to the gold. We are about to complete the farmers.
Construir. Construir.
Presto. Sí.
Presta.
Construir.
I'm trying to work here, guys, with round numbers because it helps you to have some sense of, do I have enough eco to go for the Paladins, or do I need to make more? But there's no perfect balance like this, you know. I just like to add those thumb rules for you guys to remember it better. So you might just see, oh, other player did it with 60 farmers, or I saw a player doing it with only 40 farmers. It will depend on what player. Remember, I have a lot of conks queued up here, but if you want to rush your uptime to Imperial Age, you just stop making the conks and you can already click up at any time. We are sending now more views to the gold. I would like to make a transition here of views to the gold, guys. I think that a good number of views in the gold is 30 villagers, okay? So we have 15 here. I'm going to make a few more to the gold. Let's click up to Imperial Age. Keep making views. Let's go now, guys, for a barracks, of course. And more houses. I'm going to select at least 3 views here to be my builders to make the stables. I'm still making a few conks. Shit, I got housed. I should have kept my builder only making houses. I'm going to correct this by making more houses. We have now 30 views collecting gold. We have our builders here making stables for us. Let's make like 5 more farms. Let's go for 55. It's a good number of farms. If you want to hurry up your upgrades for the Paladins, a good advice is to make a second blacksmith. This way, with 2 blacksmiths, you can do both defense and attack at the same time. Upgrade the bloodlines, upgrade the husbandry, make more stables. In my opinion, a good number of stables for you to have is 7. And now, guys, it will depend. What do you want? What's going to help you more? Having Paladins early on? Sorry, having Cavaliers early on to raid, or having Paladin faster. If what matters for you is already to have units on the field, you can just start making a lot of knights and go for Cavaliers, okay? Like I'm kind of trying to do here. I'm already making knights on all those stables. I'm making the upgrades on the 2 blacksmiths simultaneously. I still have my house builder here. And of course, let's click up to make all the upgrades. So upgrade the Cavalier, upgrade the 2-man saw, upgrade the conscription. As I said once again, do you want to play with Cavaliers or do you want to play with Paladins? Answer is Cavaliers. Just keep making Cavaliers or Knights non-stop. Oh no, Stark, I want to hurry up and have the Paladin upgrade as soon as possible. You might want to idle a bit those stables or to start with less stables producing, okay? Making now the +4 armor, the attack. Still making a few Cavaliers. Remember, guys, we could have speeded up our uptime to Imperial Age by a lot by idling the conks. And this is quite often a real situation where you just cannot keep using your conks to raid. Your enemy is already walled or they already have some counters and you just want to hurry up to go to the Imperial Age. Let's upgrade now the Paladin. I could have clicked this upgrade a few seconds before if I wanted by idling the stables, but I didn't want to idle them. Right now we can still make a lot of Cavaliers. Making the Paladins, finishing the upgrades. And there's some very important thing that I want to talk to you about. If, just if, you are playing a team game. What you want to be doing right now is to have more views collecting gold.
Servidora.
Let's say that you have something like 10 more views on the gold, on an extra gold like this, for example. I could have even sent them earlier. You want to also upgrade the caravan, and you want to go to the corner of the map. Let's suppose this is the corner of the map on Arabia, and you want to make markets here to make trade cards. Why are we actually doing this? First off, every civilization needs trade. Spanish needs it even more, okay? So the idea of having these markets is to produce a lot of trade cards. If you feel that your gold is almost running off, oh Stark, I cannot wait until I have something like 4 trade cards to support my paladins. My eco is running off. I won't have this amount of resources. Some suggestions that I give you that might try to offset
Servidora.
you going late for the trade.
Talar.
First suggestion, go for the guilds upgrade, that one here. With this you will be able to sell resources such as food and wood for better prices at the market. So that's my first suggestion. The second suggestion is make more markets. Instead of starting your trade cards with only 4 markets,
Sí.
go for something like 7 or 8 markets.
Mande. Construir.
Oh my god, Stark, you are overreacting. You don't need all those markets. If you have gold available,
Servidor. Presto.
indeed, you don't need. But if you just lost your gold sources, maybe you want to do this in order to speed up your trade production, okay? There we go, full upgraded paladins.
Presto.
Let's delete those conks. Let's say they died. To another shot. Let's focus here on making the trade cards.
Mande. Talar.
Remember guys that we did the upgrade of the guilds, right? So let's say you are falling short on the gold. What can you do? You can see right now that we have a big bank of food and wood. You can, 1, make a transition to light cav. I hate this. I'd rather just sell and make paladins. So let's sell like 2000 food, 2000 wood. Look the amount of gold we have on the bank now. By using guilds and the market, you can keep making paladins. You can keep making trade cards. Right now, you might already want to make a transition from views to trade cards, so you might even want to delete a few of your views. And we can constantly keep doing this. We are just using the extra gold here. Making a lot of paladins. Making a lot of trade cards. And with this eco, we would be able to keep sustaining a paladin production here for quite some time. Oh my god, I lost all my paladins to halberdiers. I wasn't looking. I was on the cell phone. We can just keep producing them. And of course making our trade cards. Remember, we did this huge investment in the market. What for? To be able to make the trade cards faster, right? And there we go. Sometimes you might not just want to make this full transition to army. You might want to keep your views here on the wood. Uh-oh, our gold's starting to run off. Because you might just want to make, for example, fortified walls, upgrade towers, upgrade bomber towers, switch views from the gold to the stone in order to make another castle or something like this. But right now, guys, we already have like 25 trade cards. This should be able to allow us to keep producing knights like for a quite long time, or paladins, and that's how we make a sustainable eco. If you did not invest into those trade cards, in some time from now, let's say 45 minutes, 50 minutes, you are dead. You are just going to die. Reason is, you will have no more gold, even by using the market, because it becomes less effective, you know. So you cannot just rely on the market forever. Right now, we are about to lose our production. I just want to stress this until we have no more goals to make an army to show you. We lost all these paladins. If you had these trade cards working for you, you would just be able to keep making them non-stop. Even making like extra stables to improve your span of paladins, because you would have a lot of gold from those trade cards to do it. But if you did not invest into the trade cards, the maximum that you would have would be something like, let's say, 25 more paladins, which is the cost of all those trade cards. And you would not be sustainable. So, if it's a team game and you did that, you can just keep playing forever. If you did not, you are dead. So, make the fucking trade cards and use them. GG. Alright guys, let's record here a build order for Population 20 Scouts. For Spanish, a very good opening with Scouts, and later a transition to Conquistadors. Let's go. So, we start the game by making the 2 houses and immediately sending the ship here to the TC. We want to already have this ship closer to where the views are building the house. We are going to minimize all the walking distance, and this is one of the secrets of being able to constantly do a population 20. We are not going to lure to use this build, so it's not a must. If you have bad deers or if you have to help your allies scouting or do another stuff, it's not a trouble. You are not going to need your scout here. Basically, we have 5 views eating here, the ship. We found the boars, we found the ship. We need to find our main resources, the 8 ship and the 2 boars. They will be very important for us. I'm going to set, guys, already the views here to the 2nd ship, and I'm going to minimize the walking distance. We are now going to place 2 views on the wood. Let me finish getting this. The difference of this build is that instead of eating the first 3 ship, we are actually going to eat the first 4 ship. We are only going to eat 3. And we are going to get the boars early on, and we are going to get a huge number of views on the boars early on. These guys will basically allow us to go faster to the castle age, to the feudal age. Going now already, guys, to the boar. I'm finishing to eat here the 3rd ship, which means that I have 5 others here on the bank. I'm just keeping making views there, bringing in the boar. Right now I have 8 hunters. I'm going to send a view to make a house and get the other boar. I have only 2 views on the wood, and I have 5 sheep here. Usually on the basic build orders you are sometimes left here with 4. This time we have 5 because we did one. We got 1 less view before going to the boar. Our next villager will also be a hunter. This way we are going to have 9 hunters, and our 10th one is here making the house and going for the boar. Now we're going to get 4 views and get the berries, okay? Bringing the 2nd boar, we had 9 hunters. Going for the berries. Let me kill this boar. We have 10 hunters here distributed in the 2 boars. We are almost finishing one, and we are then going to the other. You can even prioritize finishing one and going then to the other. We are now making a meal to have 4 views on the berries. This will give us 14 views in total on the food. You can already set up some ships here to get closer to your views. So once they finish the boar, those views can walk here and get this ship. Always trying, guys, to minimize the walking time for the views. Always. Okay, we have 14 views here on the food. We can now keep sending the next 3 villagers to the wood. If you want, you can use this build to go for population 19. I like to go for the 20 because it allows you to invest in a 2nd lumber camp. There we go, finish the boar. We are now eating the ship.
Mande. Buscar.
Already setting those views to get another one.
Sí.
Already setting those guys to go for the wood. So from those 10 views, 5 of those guys will move to the wood. The other 5 will keep collecting food. We are about to have 5 views here on that wood. And here's some small observation that I want to make. If you are playing and you know that you are not gonna get attacked, you might just skip the loom and go straight to Feudal Age. But if you are not having a perfect Dark Age or you just need a few more food, you do not want to idle your TC, go for the standard, which is making the loom and then clicking up to Feudal. We are going here for the standard, guys, so let's make the loom and go up to Feudal. Remember, we are always trying to minimize the walking distance, so minimize the walking distance on the berries, minimize the walking distance on the woods.
Servidor.
We have now 10 views on the wood, 5 around the TC, 5 others here on the wood. Going up to the next stage, we are always going to set the views here to eat the ship in the most efficient way possible.
Servidor. Mande.
Going now for the wood with the other 5 views. And we are already going to send forward a villager to make a house
Construir.
and later for us a barracks.
¿Sí?
Let's make the lumber camp.
Construir.
A good advice that I give you is to distribute your villagers on the wood in order for each view to collect only 1 wood.
Servidora.
This will
Servidor.
avoid your villagers to be getting stuck with each other.
Talar. Mande. Sí. Construir.
So this way you have an effective wood collection. Oh, you just eat this sheep, okay?
Mande. Buscar.
Sí.
Just go here,
Presto.
test the views to get the other, put them very close together, minimize the walking distance.
Buscar.
If you want your builds to get even better, try to minimize the walking distance. Make this an habit. It might be harsh in the beginning, but you are soon going to see the benefit of it. I'm already queuing up some views here for the wood, and I want to drop a stable. I will even use the views here from the berries to help my builder. That one's my builder, the other 2 are from the berries, to drop immediately a stable.
Construir.
We're dropping the stable. We're also going straight up for the double beat axe. Our builder will keep building here. His next building is a house, and later he can make a few palisades. Those guys are going back to the berries. We are now starting to make scouts, upgrading the horse collar, making more views, and we can already make here a transition for all our views from the TC to go for the farms.
Construir.
If you lure it, you are probably going to have more food on your TC available, which is just great.
Mande.
If you didn't, hurry up and get the wood here.
Presta.
Get the food.
¿Sí? De grado. Construir. Mande.
Whoa.
Servidora. ¿Sí?
Sí. De grado. Construir. Presto.
We're hurrying up here to add more views. With those initial scouts, guys, you can pretty much defend from a rush or attack your enemies. If you lure it on the Dark Age, at least 1 or 2 deers, you can just keep making scouts non-stop. In this case, we didn't lure, so we are only going to use these initial scouts and we are going to focus here on developing the eco. I want to get to 14 views on the food, so basically I have 4 on the berries, so I want to rush up to get 8 farmers on the beginning. Let's go.
Servidor. Construir. Mande. Construir.
1 more and we'll have the 8 farmers.
Presto.
Our builder is still building here.
Servidor. Construir.
He's making palisades and house, palisades and house.
Mande. Construir. Construir.
Mande. Construir. Servidora. Presta.
Uh-oh, sorry, we need 10 farms, not 8. I said the wrong number to you guys. Just wake up, sorry.
Construir.
So we have 8 farms around it to see. To have 14 views, we need more farms. If you want, you can go back and keep making scouts from this point.
Servidora. Construir.
As I said, this strategy, doing as the basics, you can still reach the uptime, you can still develop the eco, but you might have some trouble if you want to keep making scouts without the luring. If you use this build and you lure 1 or 2 deers, you are just going to have one of the most perfect build orders for scouts, in my personal opinion, for a regular sieve like the Spanish. Right now, guys, it's a moment of talking about Transitions. If you already know the basic build orders, go for them. My suggestion for you here is to try out a few of the follow-ups. First follow-up, full scouts. Very hardly seen but very aggressive one for 1v1 might work. Second one of the ones that I find most important, night follow-up. So just go for scouts and make the follow-up into night. You also have this building order available on the basic build order stuff. Another one for you that I want to give you is the skirmisher. So scouts and skirmishers. That one is very, very useful, especially when you are facing Mesocivs or you're facing archer civilizations such as the Britons, the Vietnamese. So I would suggest you to take a look on those three builds, okay? Full scouts, scouts into knights, scouts into skirmishers. Please take a look on them. Scout and archers, not a thing for the Spanish. And here, right now, we are going to keep up and go for the transition into conks. So let's say you just stop it at the number of 4 scouts here. You just did the minimum number of scouts possible in order for you to go to the next stage. A good suggestion for you if you want to go for a few army and just make a smooth transition to Conquistador is hurry up with your walls. Use your initial advantage here with the scouts, spearmen or whatever you did to go for the wallings. So I'm taking away one view here from the wood to help my builder to be faster on the walling. I sent 3 views now to the gold, as you guys can see. I'm going to send 3 views to the stone, then I'm going to make the wheelbarrow.
Construir, construir, voy, construir, construir.
Servidora.
1,
Construir. Excavar. Construir.
2, 3. By the way, guys, one of the basics of this build is that you want to have a safe gold, a safe stone. In most cases, you can do this by walling like that. In some cases, you might not be able to do so. You might have to make like a tower here to protect the gold or something like this. No problem. You're just going to delay it a bit. Now that we have 3 views on the gold and 3 on the stone, very similar to the Castle Age, and that's the reasoning why I'm doing this, for you to associate that. Go for the wheelbarrow. Later we are going to do a few more views until we can click up. You can already make a transition for your berry villagers to the farming, at least 2. You want to keep 14 villagers here working, and you can go for the building. So which building are we going here? I'm going for the blacksmith because it's the cheaper one you can do that will also allow you to go for the castle. So go for the berries. Our builder can keep reinforcing our defenses here, for example, to avoid a push on feudal age. We're finishing the wheelbarrow, going for more views now to the stone. If you feel like you need to invest into more walls with other views, do it. Do not die without walls. Just take away some views from the wood and invest on it. If you feel like you need to invest in a new lumber camp, just do it as well. It will boost up your eco. We're going to keep making views here until we can go up, guys. A good number, in my opinion, is to have 7 views on the stone. Let's keep it. We have right now 5. Sticks to 1 here being born. Making the transition here from berries to farms. Let's make one more and we'll have 7 views. Once again, you can make this uptime a lot better just by going for the lure or for extra resources or making less scouts, or you can just make more scouts and then compensate it by making a few more farms. Adapt according to your situation. Anyway, guys, we are going up now. I want to talk a bit about defense. Let's say you are doing this build order and your enemy is pushing you here with archers. And he has like 10 to 12 archers and you cannot let him go in. How would you defend this? Most players will try to make a tower here, which is a mistake. We are also upgrading stone and gold, okay? Forgot to tell. A good suggestion that I give you is to use markets. The market, as you can see, occupies a very wide area. You can just add, for example, a stone wall and a market here. This will allow you to defend. You don't even have to finish the market if you don't want to, but it just covers a very high area, and since it has a lot of tiles, it means that your enemy won't be able to target you. So sometimes you might just need to start making the markets to avoid your enemy from entering your base. I would recommend you to be extra careful if you're fighting against some player that has some bonus to open your walls, like Got Men-at-Arms, Burmese Men-at-Arms with extra attack, or Magyars, Japanese for their faster attack, Saracen archers. So just take a look on those units, okay? Anyway, we are about to reach now the Castle Age, and we are going to talk here about the transitions, okay? I'm already going to set up 4 new villagers here to go for the gold. We are just about to reach the Castle Age, and here we have to take some decisions. Do you want to upgrade your Conquistadors? Right now it's around 20 minutes, your opponent might be already making crossbows or better units. He's just not gonna stay on field for long, so my suggestion for you, go for a few upgrades for your Conquistadors. First one, Bloodlines. Second one, Padded Archer Armor. This way your Conquistadors will have 20 more hit points and some armor to hold a bit more, or to survive a bit more the arrows. Right now we are going to make the transition, guys, and personal advice. Make the transition already adding a second TC, because you need to catch up on the booming if he advanced first, or because you want to develop your eco anyway. Let's go for it. We make a castle. My suggestion is to use at least 7 views to make our castle quicker. I'm now upgrading the bow saw. I can remove some views here from the stone, guys, and already go for the TC if I want to increase my booming. Upgrading now the rabbit plow. I like upgrading the rabbit plow because this way, in a few minutes from now, like 2 or 3, or maybe 1, between 22 and 23, all the farms you did on the early feudal age are going to run off, and you might need some units to compensate. Let's go now for conks. I like always to build the castle in a defensive way, so right here, this castle is able to defend for me my gold. We're about to have 7 views on the gold. We are making this TC. Making the conks. Let's rush up the farms, guys. We have 14 farms. Once we have something like 18 farms, we will be able to sustain both town centers and the castle. Remember that we also have the wheelbarrow, which is quite helpful. If you already watched the transition for the booming, it's very similar. We're just following up those thumb rules to have somewhere to go. We can already add a second TC, a third TC, sorry. By the way, do you see the farms? We are now using our food bank to remake the farms. All of them are about to run off. So we might look that we have a huge bank, but we do not. We need this bank to remake all those farms. We will obviously need 6 more farms here to sustain that town center, which I'm already making. There you go. Right now, guys, we have 24 farms, 3 TCs going, a castle. That's pretty much where we want to be, right? 7 views here in the gold. In a 1v1 scenario, you might even want to add a support unit for your Conquistador, like the Mangonel, for example, because one of the counters for your Conquistadors right now might be Massed Archers. You won't be able to do much with those few conks. You might need a Mangonel to go out and attack your enemy. So a good idea is to add a Mangonel here. You might need to add a few more views to the gold, like 4 or 5, in order to be able to keep making Mangonels. And guys, The transitions here are pretty much the same ones that you saw in the booming video. We are right now at 24, 25 with roughly the same amount of villagers from before. From here you can choose. Do I want to go for a fortressy boom? Do I want to go for a full conk approach? What can I go? So pretty much you can choose the follow-up that suits you the best. Here I will just be keeping making a few conks and mangonels, which in my opinion is one of the best things you can do for the 1v1 scenario. The mangonels can counter enemy massed ranged units, and infantry and cavalry can all be countered by your conquistadors, especially with some micro. That's a more defensive approach, the conquistador here, because you went for the scouts, then you went for the conks. We are mostly aiming here to use conks on the mid game and transition these to the post-Imperial age. So right now what I'm going to do, guys, is to make a follow-up and teach you how to play post-Imperial age in 1v1. Let's go for it. First, let's focus here on the transition. I'm going to make a transition into conks. Do you remember how we did it? We transitioned 5 views here to the stone. We already have the upgrade this time. I'm just going to change this by having mangonels and conks being produced. Going for the wood. Going here for the food. We're always going to rush here to make more farms, because we want to have more farms in order to afford making more conks later on and more upgrades.
Servidor, construir.
Sí, construir. Talar. Mande. Talar. Presta. Talar. Construir.
Going for the wood. I have now around 30 farmers. Let's set up a builder, a house builder. We are making now mangonels and conks non-stop. This is a very strong combination for Castle Age. You can upgrade your conquistadors by having the +2, by having the husbandry. Oop, let's not idle our TCs. We're still making farms. Now guys, let's say that we just want to keep conquistadors and siege. My suggestion, try to keep sending views now to the gold. Keep making views to the woods. And try to rush up to have more farmers. That's what we're going to do. We are going to drop here a few more farmers. If you have space around your TCs, you can just use it. We have mangonels and conks fully upgraded to play now on the Castle Age. This pretty much can give your enemy a lot of trouble. We are going more for the gold here. We want to have more views because we are not only making conks but also mangonels. We are about to drop another castle here. We're almost ready to go. You can use your castle as a defensive tool to hold a key area, for example. Right here, for example, I'm going to drop a castle to hold this other gold. Making more mangonels, making more conquistadors. Around 8 villagers, so let's go for the handcart. I'm going to rush here, guys, to get something like 25 views on the gold and 40 to 45 farmers, okay? Our house builder stopped building and we are housed. Do not let that happen. If you're housed, immediately task a lot of views to make the first house and retask your builder to keep doing this. We just minimize it here, our housing time, which should have never have occurred, okay? If we just kept our builder working. We have a lot of siege here. It's hard. You are hardly going to be able to use more than 5 mangonels at once. If you have at least 3, you can create some problems to your enemy archer.
Sí, construir.
Servidor, construir. Mande.
A lot of farms, right?
Sí. Construir. Servidor.
Conks from 2 castles, siege,
Presta.
dropping farms,
Mande.
'making'
Constalar. 'Making' conks. Mande. 'Making' conks. 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 'Making' conks.
conchs, mangonels. Scouts died a long time ago. At this moment, if you want, you can make a monastery and go for the relics. You might be able to fight for the map control and win it with all these conchs and mangonels.
Servidora.
Let's hurry up to get something like 30 views on the gold and 50 on the food, around 50 on the food.
Presto. Agora.
Moving here my stone miners. If you want to boost your the speed that you are going to make castles, add more views to the stone.
Construir.
Upgrade the stone shaft mining. We are soon going to click up to Imperial Age. Clicking up.
Presto.
Now that we are going, guys, to the Imperial Age, my suggestion for you is add more siege workshops. If you already have one, keep it. Start massing runs.
Servidor. Construir. Talar. Presto. Plazme. Talar.
Mande. Servidora.
Uh-oh, our house builder stopped working. That was a mistake.
Construir. Construir. Construir.
We are still making conquistadors. I will send all the views here to be born to the wood. If I already have something like 30 views on the gold.
Sí. Talar. Excavar.
30 views on the gold. Let's go for something like 50 farmers. And I'm massing runs. Making conchs. Massing runs. We need a few more views on the food. If we do not make those farmers, we might not have enough to upgrade all that we want to upgrade.
Sí. Construir. Presta.
We need to upgrade the conquistadors, we need to upgrade the runs. Those are all very expensive upgrades.
Presta.
Regarding the food,
Talar. Voy.
we have full conchs. We are getting stone at an amazing rate here.
Agora. Ellos.
We can even get some of those stone miners to go forward
Plazme.
and drop the castle in a hill, for example. Right here, I'm going to try and camp this hill. With the amount of conchs I have, I can pretty much be able to do so. And the idea here, guys, as you saw in the first transition, is to play with
Santiago.
conquistadors and siege.
Sí. Construir. Presto.
Ooh, moonwalking view.
Construir. Construir. Presto. Construir.
Sí. Construir.
We have, guys, around 50 farmers now.
Construir. 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 Voy. Talar.
Let's make the upgrades. Which is the order? The armor for the conquistador, the run, conscription. Later, if we lack resources, or actually the economical one, to mensal. Later, if we lack resources to make the elite conquistador, it's more important to have runs rather than having elite con in the beginning.
Sí. Agora. Mande. Degrado.
If you have access to an extra gold, thanks to the map control, get it.
Construir.
If you do not, don't you worry.
Voy. Sí.
Make your fourth castle. You're probably going to have at least 4 castles in these situations. We just need more resources now to upgrade, guys, the
Sí.
siege run.
Construir.
Servidor. Talar.
Upgrading now the siege run. Keep making the siege. They are going to be the secret here for your strategy. You might want to use
Construir.
your views here to get a castle in a corner, for example, or to hold a very strategical area. Might not just stack all your castles together. We had an issue on defensive ones. We have now the siege run approach. Most likely we had on the 1v1 scenario, right?
Mande.
And we are now going here for the
Construir.
castles, fighting for the corners, and that's basically how we're gonna go. We have a good number of views,
Mande.
around 30 views getting wood, 50 on the food. It's not showing 50 because often we have a view we're making a farm, and we can just keep spamming conquistadors and siege.
Santiago.
If you're fighting against some civilization that has a lot of ranged units, you might try to go for the onager. Add Spanish. I think that you can even have a better investment by having a cannon. If you are fighting a trap war or something like this, you might want to add a university to upgrade architecture, masonry, go for the hoardings. So right now we are on the early Imperial transitioning to the mid Imperial age in a 1v1 scenario. You have the conquistadors, you have the runs. So now guys, it's time to make the transition until we go to the post-Imperial Age scenario. So let's do it. How are we going to transition into the post-Imp scenario?
See?
Maybe you already consumed your stones, you might go for the extras if you have some in the map. This can be very good for you. Oh, I do not have extra stones in the map, Stark, or I have no access to them. No problem, go for example to the wood. You want to upgrade now another unit to keep using. So we are going to, for example, to upgrade here the roosters. Let's start by upgrading light cavalry. Make a second blacksmith to upgrade both armor and attack at the same time. If you want to get your constructions more bulky, go for the hoardings for your castle to receive more hit points. Architecture also for your castle and your buildings to receive more hit points and armor. Upgrade the rooster. Start adding stables here to make the roosters. You want to have a minimum of 5 stables on the beginning to help. And the roosters will be the base of your trash unit army. You might be already consuming all the gold. So right now what you want to do is to go for the wood if you're lacking it, and already start a transition here guys to more farms. Remember that we had around 30 views on the gold, right? We're going to slowly make a transition from those views from the gold to the farms, okay? That's what we're going to do. Upgrading the rooster, upgrading the armors. Let's just say that you lost all this army. We lost it. We just lost all the army. How can we keep fighting now? You have to remake your army. So right now we can remake the runs, remake the conquistadors with your castles, and remake the and start making the roosters, okay? That's what we're going to do. We just wasted this in a big fight. We were able to get something important. We traded our army for that. We were a bit careless and we lost our conquistadors. We should have never done it, but it might happen. So let's go for more conquistadors. Try putting all your castles in a hotkey. More runs. And of course, roosters. So we are making roosters, we are making conks, and we are going to make runs. Roosters on the skirmishers, conks on the bulky units such as paladins or halberdiers, and that's basically it. You also want to make a market here by this moment. Oh, these views were on the gold. Let's transition then to the farms. It's a good idea to make more mills on the Imperial Age to set up your new your views on new farms. If you can, try to do it in safe spots, close to castles, in the back of your map, in a walled area for example. We are just remaking a lot of roosters, a lot of conquistadors. We will be able to do this for quite some time, to play full conquistadors and roosters. But as you can see, our gold is almost running off. We just eat all this gold, all that gold, we have no more gold left. So on this moment you need to be very smart. We're finishing to upgrade the blast furnace, finishing to upgrade our buildings. On this moment you should have a market, we have it. Go for the guilds upgrade. Finish to make the transition from your views to the farms. You want to have something like 70 to 80 farmers. I honestly like a lot to use 80 farmers. You probably have seen players or pro players going for long games, 6-hour arena games, or 2 or 3 hours Arabia ones. The reason for you to keep making army non-stop and to be able to make this is because you make those eco transitions here for the post-Imperial Age. We are just building up a lot more farmers. You might delete buildings that you are not going to use, like the mining camps, to have more space for your farming. We can already now think about upgrading the next units. So, for example, let's say that you need to make halberdiers. So start upgrading pikemen. You want to make elite skirmishers. Start by making archer ranks. In order to make the full trash army, you need more more buildings, so I'm gonna make a few more barracks, for example.
Servidora. Construir. 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 Construir.
I'm also going to do a few more archer ranges.
Servidor. Construir. Construir.
Sí. Construir. Construir. Construir.
Construir.
And of course, you want to go for a full trash army, so we are also going, guys, to invest into more stables.
Servidora.
Oh, delete the mining camp before finishing the gold. My bad. So I'm going for something like 12 stables here. I want to have a huge mass of roosters available.
Construir. 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 Talar.
I'm just losing my roosters. I'm just losing my conks. I'm just losing my runs. I have no more resources available. But take a look at my eco right now. If I was not doing army at all, I would have a huge bank of food. And all my wood is being invested here, guys, into making more buildings. Barracks, archer ranges, stables. We are preparing ourselves for a 3-hour game here. Always play preparing for that. So how are we going to follow up now? We have around 80 farms. So one thing that you can do is, if you did the guilds upgrade, trade resources. The first guy to trade the resources will get better prices. So we can just trade like 3,000 food, for example. And we have a good amount of gold. With this amount of gold, we can, for example, finish upgrades such as the halberdier, that's very cost for the eco. Chemistry, which we are gonna use for our skirmishers, ballistics as well. And of course, you can start making trash units. Make a lot of halbs, make a lot of skirmishers, make a lot of roosters. Those should be your main focus on the game. If you have a lot of gold, you were able to access the extra gold, for example. You can still use gold army, for example. It's good to have conquistadors, but you never want to lose those conquistadors, okay? You want to keep those guys alive forever. Who wants to live forever? Conquistador does. Upgrade your trash army, the upgrades that you are still missing. Make a lot. But the most important gold unit, and if you only have gold for one kind of unit, what you want to make is runs. So right now I'm trying now to make runs. Making my trash army. Since I have a lot of buildings, I can replace my army quite fast if I need. Finishing the upgrades. Let's finish the transition here. We want to have something around a good composition for you is 30 to 40 views on the wood. So right now we have 46. Let's change a few more to the food, or delete a few.
Sí.
Let's say we have 40 views on the food, 80 views on the 40 views on the wood, 80 views on the food, 120 views. With these views, we can just keep a trash army here to get popped. Use our conquistadors or our gold units very wisely. We do not want to lose it. Even if we lose all this army, we want to keep the conquistadors alive for more time. So right now, how can we keep playing? Focus on the roosters, they are your main unit. Make the skirmishers, make the halberdiers, make the trash units according to the situation. A good advice that I give you is to make a few stables, maybe only 2 on the sides here to go and raid the enemy. If your enemy is trying to target a castle, it's good to make a few barracks because halberdiers are good against runs and roosters can snipe off some traps. And as you can see, we have no relics. We just lost all the relics to our enemy. We were not so effective. Can we win a situation of game like this with no relics? Sure you can. But I have no siege, Stark. I cannot keep making siege. Of course you can. We have 80 farms for a reason. Not only for making roosters, but we can also sell a big amount of food, like 2,000 food at once. And by selling this, we can make siege. So siege will be very precious resource once the game goes more further away. It will be very expensive to build it, especially if you have no relics, but focus on making them. Roosters should also be in the front line of your army. Always should be in the front line of your army. We are right now, guys, eating a lot of this. At some point, the wood will get more scarce. You are going to have to invest into fighting for the wood. If you are playing an arena, you're probably just fighting for the map. But if you're playing in Arabia, around 1 hour and a half or 2 hours, you might have to fight for more resources. Let's say we just lose all our army, not the Conquistadors, because we are taking a good care of those guys, not to let them die. Just make more army. With all those buildings, you can just go population 200 very fast, and that's the idea of the post-Imperial Age. To have a lot of eco in order to support your eco to keep growing and full spamming trash units. This is a post-Imperial Age scenario, guys, for full siege, for full trash unit approach. We are already popping very fast, right? That's how we want this one to be. Oh my, what if I keep losing my arm, Stark? Can I keep replacing it? Sure you can. That's the idea of this bulky eco. If you have the relics and if you have access to the extra gold, you might have more gold units, you might have more siege runs. But in case you do not have it, you might be in trouble. And in this situation, what you want to do is to sell resources. Sometimes you might even want to make more farmers here, go up to 100 farms or 90 farms. I have seen players doing this, mostly to keep selling resources and being able to make siege. We're just selling resources at the minimum price on the market to keep making siege. But sometimes you do not want to only fight with army. You need some siege, for example, to use our army to push a castle, to make a trebuchet or to make runs. So in these situations, you might want to sell resources. I do not recommend selling wood, because wood is a resource that might just get over with during the game. But selling food is probably a good call, because you can just keep making more farms, getting more food. Shit, we have idols. And of course, keep making army. So that's the post-Imperial Age, guys. I'm talking more about the eco balance, about the build or the eco balance that you want to have here to keep making this kind of trash unit army. With some civilizations, you might not want to use all the trash units. In some situations, instead of using, for example, full roosters and skirmishers and halbs, you might just think that, okay, maybe for the current game situation, I do not need halbs. I only need roosters and skirmishers. So it will depend a lot on the game situation. If that happens, no problem. Just do not need to upgrade or to make the halbs and just keep making the other units. But that was basically it. How you play on the post-Imperial Age. You want to win the corners, you want to do a lot of things that I'm not showing you, but you are always going to see it when watching the games, my games, other player games. But the eco behind it and how you make your eco sustainable to play for 3 hours if you need is like this. And the eco, guys, on the Imperial Age requires a very low maintenance. You already have the views. You might have to remake some villagers in case your enemy is raiding. So if your enemy just killed all those farmers, you might need to make more views to supply those farms. Your wood might be being... you might have to remake your lumber camps to better wood spots. So this is only the few things that you might have to do during the Imperial Age. Remake lumber camps and remake views if they are being killed. So in a 1v1 scenario, Imperial Age, that's how you play. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. If your army stop dying for some reason, what's gonna happen is you are going to have a huge food bank. A huge bank of food or wood. What do you do if you're popped and you are just messing up a lot of resources? You trade this gold for food. This way you can keep making runs and maybe even trebuchets forever. That's the idea. I hope you guys have enjoyed it.
Presto.
I'm going to delete my army once more to get Puppet, to get the Siege, to show you that this is a sustainable build. You can just keep on this from 3 hours if you want to,
Construir.
and you might probably be wanting to fight for the wood.
Construir.
It's also, guys, I don't mention, but it's not often a good idea to sell wood. In the beginning of the game, you might just sell wood because you might get good prices on the market. For example, right here, I can get wood for 100 wood for 77 gold. But on the long run, it's better to just save the wood and sell only the food. Unless you are playing a map that has a very low wood limitation like Arena or Black Forest. But even if you play these maps, in the very, very long run, let's say that you are playing something like a 5-hour game, you might start to feel like you lack wood to make the things, and you might be wanting to do it. I hope you guys have enjoyed. This is the post-Imperial Age build order. I have never seen something like this. Most build orders only cover the beginning. Most people ask, like, I don't know how to play with Imperial Age, or I have difficult. But I see players trying to keep a full trash army with only 40 farmers, and they have no replacement. If I just fought against a player with a weaker eco, I would just keep trading army, and I would eventually win the game because I have a better eco behind to support it. GG. Huge eco, okay views, despite having no relic gold, a huge military on the field, with siege. GG.